Hey everybody, tonight we're going to be talking about the Crazy Rabbit Titanium 3-level mechanical slider by Hailu. At least that's the name I'm going with. At least two different sellers are calling it the Crazy Rabbit, but we'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute. It is titanium, it is a little sticky. I'm going to be changing out the stock balls and springs to polypropylene balls. We're going to talk about those a little bit too, and just try to have some fun. So yeah, please join me. Okay, so let's talk about how to find this real quick. If you get onto AliExpress, there's only a few left, and unfortunately the guy that sold me this didn't double the price, but he really bumped up the price. This was about 80, 90, and he bumped it up to 150 because he's only got one left apparently. Well, he's a drop shipper like the rest of them, I guess. He probably doesn't even have it at all, but he's trying to make money on the last one that's available. If you look hard enough, there is a second-hand one available, but I don't want to give you a link to that, and I don't know how to tell you to search for it, but you'll find it if you look hard enough. Anyhow, you can search for this, Crazy Rabbit EDC, and it's going to bring up a couple different results right off the bat. You're going to find this one, and you're going to find this one. And this one we're going to talk about in detail at the very end here, because that's Mar.1 once again calling something probably the wrong name. She's calling that thing the Crazy Rabbit, and it's clearly marked on there Thai Viva EDC. I don't think it's the same thing. I don't think it's the same company, although it might be. But I'm probably not interested in this, and I have a few reasons why. We'll talk about that at the end. Number one being Mar.1 is the only person that has it right now, and I don't like to give her any money. But other than that, like I said, we'll go into the details of that one at the end. You don't want to mix that one up with this one if you're looking to buy one, because they are different. That is a mechanical magnetic hybrid. This one is pure mechanical. They're both 3 levels, but different things. So yes, the friction issue is because it's titanium, and I was aware of that when I bought it. The previous one I just reviewed is also titanium, and it also has some friction issues. But it does work pretty well, provided you push it from the sides, because the minute you squeeze it and put pressure on it, it gets very sticky. It does not like to rub against itself. But if you get it from behind there and push it out the whole way, it becomes a pretty decent slider. Now, I carried it around all day today. This was my first full day with it, with the stock springs and balls. Again, stainless steel balls and the hard springs. And I carried it with one of my lanyards. I'm going to put that on in a second. But I just want to show you, it's more difficult to use this as it stands in your hand. It doesn't slide backwards, it only slides forwards. It's 10 clicks, then 10 clicks, so a total of 20 clicks. It only slides forward. And throughout the day, it was a lot easier to use the lanyard. And I'm going to put one on now and show you why. So this gives me a nice anchor. And now I'm not really having to put weight onto it at all. I'm really easily being able to hit it from behind. It's just sort of an easier target for my thumb. So having a lanyard on there makes this thing really nice. And if you're willing to put up with a little bit of stickiness, then you can stick with the stock stainless steel balls and the hard springs. But it does, even then, even with my lanyard attached, I noticed a couple times throughout the day it would still hang up on me occasionally. If I just approached this in the wrong way and put any pressure at all on this top plate, squeezing down on it at all, things get a little bit sticky, which I don't really like. Now, if you're like a power player and you're just going to rip through this thing all day long, you won't even probably notice it. If you do it fast and hard, it just powers past any kind of friction issues. But I like it slow and easy. So I'm probably going to put in the nylon balls. You could see, or at least hear maybe, putting in soft springs and balls on this one made a huge difference. And it's not loud, and I'm not after that. I'm after the, I can hear it a little bit. I like to be able to hear it. But I'm more of a feedback person. And my habit is to always just slide them forward and then bring them back. Now, we talked about this one already, and like I said, it does not like being pushed or squeezed at all. Then it gets really tight. So we're going to put the same polypropylene balls in this one that I did on this one, and then we will see what kind of difference that makes. I actually know already what kind of difference that makes because I tried all this last night. I was trying out the steel balls, the glass balls, everything I could. But yeah, we'll take it from here. Yeah, and if I didn't mention it already, I do have some, I just recently ordered those PP balls, the polypropylene balls on Amazon, and I got like 100 of them for $6. I don't know how well they're holding up. I did look at them the other day after about a solid day's use, and they looked like they might be wearing a little bit. So I ordered 3mm nylon balls, or I think they're advertised as POM, which is a type of nylon, and I got 50 of those for like $4 on the way, and they should be 3mm too. And I only mentioned 3mm so many times because all the balls that I've used, I like to put the plastic balls in a lot of my metal sliders, my metal mechanical sliders. And I don't mean a lot, I mean a few of them, I guess, because it makes them so much softer and quieter. And the balls that I've been using up to this point were just salvaged from like spare parts from this slider, that slider. I've got hundreds of balls and stuff, but I've run out of the nylon kind. And they're actually 2.86 diameter millimeters for the most part, and so are the metal ones. I don't know why that is exactly, but the ones I ordered off of Amazon were advertised as 3mm, and the polypropylene balls that I got here are exactly 3mm. They're not undersized at all, but they still fit, so that's good news. And like I said, I got nylon or POM 3mm balls on the way. We'll be trying those out a little bit more in the future too. So let's go ahead and just take this lanyard off. Well, let me show you what it looks like with my other fancy lanyard, one with the fancy knot on it. Looks pretty nice. We'll go ahead and put these off to the side for right now. And I thought we could do some comparisons. I don't consider this to be a copy of anything. My policy is not to review copies or not to promote copies. I don't care what you buy. But I don't find this to be close enough to be considered a copy of anything. So let's proceed with comparisons. The one people might say that it's close to, I believe, would be maybe the 01 EDC, but fairly different. I mean, they don't fit into each other, which is a good sign. Sometimes things just from one machine to a different machine in a different maker, sometimes they fit so precisely that you know it was a copy. But it's a very similar design. However, the 01 EDC is, it's light years ahead of this one as far as quality, and you've got your cover plates that can be exchanged. You've got a slightly different setup on the inside. It only gives you, I think it's, 20, I think it's 10 and 10, 20 clicks in this direction, but when you flip it around, you get 5 and 5. So there's a slight difference there, but here you can see do a little bit of side-by-side action here. They're pretty close in size. This is a little bit thinner. All right, we covered that one. Let's just compare it to the one I showed you yesterday or the day before, I guess, my last review. Alright, two that you might be more familiar with, of course the Mackie CP3, that's very close in size in every dimension. And the Metal Toys DZ Top B slider with the ZZ plate. And a few more. Now these are actual 3-level sliders to compare it to. So this is another recent purchase. And I'm forgetting what the title of this one is. I'm going to have to come back with that up here for you, unless I remember here in a couple seconds, but I'm not going to focus on that. This is very quiet because it has nylon balls in it. But it's also titanium. Only the shells are titanium, but the shells tended to rub against the aluminum insert here. You can see the wear lines. And any pressure, again, squeezing down on it. Now you can squeeze down on it to get the clicks. These both have 2 clickies underneath. But any pressure on it makes it a little bit stiffer. And by putting the plastic balls and softer springs in there, I got it down just where I like it. So there we go. Let's do the side by side stuff. Really like this one. Another 3-level PEI. This is by Dom EDC. It's called the Piano. You can get this in stainless or PEI or different combinations thereof. It slides both ways. I think it's 5 and 5, 10 clicks in one direction, 10 clicks in the other direction. See how difficult it is for me to open this with my left hand? I'm right-handed, but I end up squeezing it, and that makes it harder to do. If you can approach it from the front and back, it works a lot smoother. And I'm much more practiced at doing that with my right hand. But that really displays how sticky this is. You know, and I got to keep saying this one's not much better. So be aware of that. But you know, I think this is priced fairly. This was about $35. And for the complexity and the machining on this and the fact that it works as well as it does, and I'm happy with it too. But like I said, it was about $90. You know, that could be an inflated price just because it was rare already. I'm not sure, but I'm happy that I got it. Anyhow, back to this. Closed up. And the final 3-level slider to compare it to is the CP3 by Mackie Studio. They are both pretty much the same length. Each piece is the same length, of course. That's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 clicks in either direction. No, 8 clicks in that direction only. It does not go backwards. This one does not go backwards either. But they're about the same think that covers all the comparisons. Let's measure it. When it's closed, we're at 43.5 millimeters. The width is 23, and the thickness is 11. When it's fully extended, we're at 84. Bring in the old trusty scale. There are no magnets in this, so it shouldn't be an issue. 46 grams. So before we take it apart, let's just talk about what it came with. It came in this standard budget plastic box, which is good enough for me. It protected it during shipping. For spare parts, we have 3 extra main screws, 4 extra main screws, and 4 stainless steel balls, along with, there's only 2 springs left in here. Those are the soft springs. I have the 4 hard springs installed in it right now. And then there's 2 glass balls that you can barely see. Also has this nice little leather coin purse pouch. I did translate this right here. It says, well, if you translate it on my phone, it says what you see here. And if you translate it via Google Translate, it says, hello, player. And then, of course, below it says, hello, player. I like the way that sounds for someone who's, hello, hello. Anyhow, typical, I've got a few of these that I use for EDC stuff. I like a case like that. It's a nice little feature. There was nothing underneath any of the foam here. So that is everything that came in the box. All right, it is time to take this thing apart, which happens to be a very, very easy thing to do. There's a screw here and a screw here. Those are the only screws. They're both the same. All you gotta do is unscrew it part way so that it sticks out a little bit. And then you can slide this top plate off. But as you do that, you want to cover up this part of it with your thumb so that the balls don't go flying. Now you can safely dump the balls out. And the springs, because we're going to replace the springs too. So we'll just do that on the opposite side. Just going to turn this out. Don't need to take it out the whole way. Just turn it out till it sticks out a few threads there. Again, I'm going to put my thumb over this part here and then slide out the top plate. And my thumbs catch the balls and springs, and now they're out. So you can see where all the wear is occurring here too. Here, 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 here. Get that focus. Move it around in the light a little bit for you. So there it is. Pretty simple construction. We'll just get this all organized here. And I don't need any of this stuff out. I don't want to lose it. Now I have my own parts. Now these are the 3mm, exactly 3mm PP or polypropylene balls that I got off Amazon. And these are 2 sets of labeled springs. Now these came, if you watched a little while back, I bought one of each of these. They're called Ding Ding sliders from INS Work on AliExpress. And each one of them, because I have like 5 of them now, came with a nice set of extra parts. And these are your springs. These are the soft springs, that 0.25. I got my calipers out and looked at it. That's actually the diameter of the wire that's coiled up. So 0.3, which is a little bit thicker makes these ones a little bit springier. That's how they're determining the difference between their springs. And you can tell when you compare them by squeezing them in your fingers. We're going to take out the ones that were in here. We did. Those were 0.3 when I measured them, and they do feel about as stiff as these do. But I do have 4 nice soft springs here. So let's get those out. You know what? I'm going to go and get my tweezers. Alrighty, now we can make the work a little bit easier with the right tools. How many of these can I get out? All of them? Oh, I got all of them. Okay, we got 4 springs. Get those untangled. And then we will go with 4 polypropylene or PP balls. So all you got to do is do one side at a time. Doesn't matter which side, just drop your springs down in there. Put your balls on top. Now, this is important. There, right there, is the notch for the lanyard. Here's the lanyard hole. That means this notch is located on the back surface. That means this is the back surface plate, and it needs to line up with that. This hole needs to line up with this notch. So this plate goes on here, not this plate. That's the front plate. So let's go ahead and put this on. And all you got to do is get it started, put it on that dovetail, get it up close to where the springs and balls are, then push down on the springs and balls with your finger and gently slide this plate right over top of it. And now once it's on, you can flip it over and tighten this screw back down. But here, follow my instructions. Screw it down lightly until it stops. Now it's actually pressing against this back surface and it won't move. Now turn it exactly as close as you can to 1/2 rotation backwards. That now raised the screw off the surface. It's not touching the back plate anymore, and it should move pretty freely, which it does. The reason it stops here is because the screw's sticking up. But yeah, that side's good. Now we'll do the other side. Same procedure. You just put the springs in first. Put your balls on next. Then, I need that right now. Then, well, here's another important decision to make. If the lanyard hole's down here, then your lanyard's going to hang downward. You probably want to orient your rabbit like this and not like that. So let's do that. Align it with the dovetail, put it on there, push down on the 2 springs and balls, slide that over it. Now you're on. Flip it over, and all you got to do is same thing again. Turn that screw till it stops gently. You'll notice the back part doesn't move at all. And then give it 1/2 turn rotation counterclockwise. It loosened it up. Now it moves. Now, oh, see that? That's kind of magical to me. Now, I've noticed, I tried this last evening. Now, today I walked around with the stock balls and the stainless steel balls and springs, the hard springs, but I was running it this way last evening, and I was encountering very few hang-ups. You still have to approach it from the front and the back. You cannot squeeze this between your fingers and manipulate it like you would other sliders. The harder you squeeze it, the more it wants to bind up, and it doesn't feel good at all. You'll be really disappointed. So once you realize that you just have to push it from the front and the back, then there's virtually no friction between the plates, and it works really nice. I like this a lot. So that's that. Just for fun, let's compare it with these two, because they have the Nice quiet balls in them as well. Now if I flip this one over, I get fewer clicks. I actually prefer the dense version, the dense side. Now, bring this out again. Compare it with this. This one feels really chalky, really chalky. You can see, probably in the reflection, there's a nice scratch running right down through the smiley face there. I have no idea what got in there, but something got in there. Again, it now works a lot easier in your hand without a lanyard because of the changes that we made. But by adding the lanyard, which is how I'm always going to carry these, if it has a hole big enough to put a lanyard in it, a lanyard clip in it, I'm going to put it in there because I like that so much better. You don't have to pay attention to holding onto this and worrying about dropping it or anything. It's much easier to approach that back surface. Yeah, this is going to be a nice one for work. Yeah, like I said, if you want to put the steel balls or the glass balls work fairly well too, but you still have the binding issue. It's likely to be a little bit more sticky and take a little bit more force to move around. But if you have the resources, like I did, or perhaps you'll get lucky and they'll send you, like I said, they gave me 4 hard springs and only 2 soft springs when I needed 4 soft springs. And I was lucky enough to have those from a different supplier for a different part, for a different product. So if you can, you might want to make those changes. Otherwise, it might be a little stiff. Now, for the last part of this video, we're going to sort of put this off to the side. Maybe we'll put her over here for right now. And we're going to talk about the one from Mar.1 that is also being called the Crazy Rabbit by her, probably incorrectly. On second hand, let's put that down here. It'll be a little less reflective. Let's talk about this. So, like I said, Mar.1 is calling this also the Crazy Rabbit, and I don't think that's probably right. It's pretty clearly marked on the front there, Thai Viva EDC. So I don't know what the story is there, but I think this one's about, I want to say about $80, and I'm not too interested in it because it's we'll go over the one that reminds me a lot of the Mackie CP2, and I was never too, in the beginning I was happy with that, but I mean it wore off pretty quickly, and that's what they're trying to emulate, I think, on this model. So the next photo here just shows a little bit more of the inside. You can see the mechanicals and the magnetics now, I think. This last photo gives you a really good shot. And in this last photo, on the far left, I believe, the magnetic side, you'll see 2 grooves on the left and right. And I can't help but to think that those are probably 2 tracks for balls. You know, I think they have a handful of balls on both of those tracks on either side to keep the magnet surface separated so that the titanium doesn't touch and rub against each other and get sticky. Because the mechanical side, that won't be as big of an issue, I don't think. But if you were to have a magnetic free-floating slider and those plates are rubbing against each other, that'd be bad news. So, yeah, I don't think I want to get into that. Like I said, I think they're trying to emulate what was done originally with the CP2, not copy it, but emulate it, or, you know, their version, kind of, sort of. But with this one, and I just reviewed this one recently. I got out all my CP series Mackie sliders and compared them and did them all at once. But this one I've always liked using, not always, but nowadays I would prefer to have this thing be all mechanical. It's a shame they never did that. But when you do that, it's kind of rough on your fingers. These sides are rough when they come back. And with the magnetic part on the back, that really doesn't add too much to this for me, because you've got the mechanical, which is that many clicks, and then it's finished off with 1, 2 big magnetic clicks. And that's really all that they're trying to squeeze into a package about the same size as this. So I don't care for that. The other thing is the balls. See, this one has little tracks on the side. Well, that's because there's tiny balls. When I say tiny, I mean sub 3 millimeter. These might be the 2 millimeter or sub 2 millimeter balls, but this one's crazy. This one's a crazy one to take apart. Very complex. There are 8 tiny little balls here, 8 tiny little balls here, 8 more here, and 8 more here. So that's quite a few, and it makes for a smooth run, but it does not make disassembly and reassembly an easy task. So that's what I think those probably are. And I'm probably not going to get that one. I'd rather save my money for more interesting things like this. I am glad I got this. I was hesitant because it's all titanium and I know it's going to be rubbing against each other. As long as you don't squeeze down on it, that just screws everything up. As long as you can get used to using it from the side, like I showed you with the lanyard, little lanyard attachment, whatever you choose to put on there, will help greatly. And then I think this becomes a decent piece. I just hope that if you are interested in it, that you can find the second-hand one. I only saw one second-hand one available for about $80. And like I said, the guy that sold me this original one, his last piece, he's bumped the price up to, what was it, from about 80 to like 140 or something, just trying to make a buck. So I think that I've covered everything I need to cover. Hopefully this wasn't too long, and hopefully you stayed interested. So please, if you have any questions, as usual, just leave them in the comments, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks for watching. Bye.